Thanks, Leo. You're a true legend. I hope you win more trophies and break more records.
There is a story about Lionel Messi that proves football is not only about goals, victories, or trophies. It is also about empathy, kindness, and gestures that remain forever in people's memories. Moments that go beyond the pitch and remind us of the human side of the game. Messi's greatness is not measured only by the number of times he lifts a cup or breaks a record, but also by the way he touches the hearts of those around him, leaving behind examples of humility and compassion that inspire generations. This story happened on November 20th, 2010, during a La Liga match between Barcelona and Almería. It was a cold evening filled with excitement, as fans gathered with hope and anticipation to witness their teams compete. The venue was the Estadio de los Juegos Mediterráneos, the proud home of Almería, a stadium that had hosted countless emotional battles and unforgettable moments. On that day, however, it would become the backdrop for an encounter that carried a meaning far beyond the final scoreline. The match itself was completely one-sided. Barcelona crushed Almería with a stunning scoreline of 8-0, a result that left no room for doubt about their dominance. Every attack seemed to carry danger, and every movement on the pitch reflected the gulf in class between the two sides. That night, Lionel Messi was unstoppable. He scored a hat-trick and provided 2 assists for his teammates, leaving the defenders helpless with his pace, vision, and precision. Every touch of the ball seemed to create danger, and every move reminded the world why he was already considered one of the greatest players of his generation. Messi was the brightest star on the pitch, but the real story was not about his goals. It was about something that happened afterward, an unexpected moment that revealed more about his character than any number of goals ever could. It was a gesture so simple, yet so powerful, that it left a lasting impression on everyone who witnessed it. On the opposing side was Fabián Vargas, a Colombian midfielder who played for Almería. Before the match, Vargas had already carried a mission on his shoulders, one that went beyond the usual responsibilities of marking an opponent or executing tactics. It was a personal duty tied to a promise he made to someone dear, and it weighed heavily on his heart as he stepped onto the field. For Vargas, this game was not just about competition, but about fulfilling a request that gave the occasion a deeper meaning. At that time, Colombia had been struck by devastating floods. Thousands of people lost their homes and were in urgent need of aid, with entire communities left stranded and families forced to survive with almost nothing. The disaster created not only physical destruction, but also a deep sense of despair, as hope seemed to wash away with the raging waters. In the midst of this tragedy, every act of support mattered, and even the smallest gesture could bring comfort to those who had lost everything. Friends and family back home had asked Vargas for help. They needed him to find a way to raise money for the victims, to use his platform as a professional footballer to draw attention to the suffering that was unfolding. It was not an easy request, but Vargas knew he could not turn away. The voices of those closest to him echoed in his mind, reminding him that beyond the game, he had a responsibility to his people. Vargas then thought of a plan. He wanted to get Messi's jersey, to later auction it for fundraising, believing that such a prized item could attract attention and bring in the support his people desperately needed. Before the match began, Vargas approached Messi directly. He told him about the disaster, about the victims, and asked if Messi could give his shirt, explaining how much it could help raise funds for those affected. Messi listened carefully, showing genuine concern, and took in the gravity of the situation before responding. Messi quietly agreed with a nod. It was a small gesture, but it meant everything to Vargas, who felt a wave of relief and gratitude wash over him. That simple act carried the hopes of countless victims back home, turning what seemed like a tiny moment on the field into a powerful symbol of compassion and humanity. But when the match ended, Almería had been humiliated 8-0. Vargas was devastated and left the pitch in anger and disappointment, feeling the sting of the defeat weigh heavily on him. The loss was crushing, and despite the hope he carried for the fundraising, the bitter reality of the score left him frustrated and emotionally drained. In that emotional state, he completely forgot his promise. He forgot to ask Messi for the jersey he had requested earlier. And yet, Lionel Messi did not forget. While Vargas sat in the dressing room, replaying the painful defeat in his mind, Almeria's kitman came and told him that someone was waiting outside. Curious and still carrying a mix of frustration and hope, Vargas hurried to see who it could be, unaware that this moment would soon turn into one he would never forget. When Vargas stepped out, he saw Messi standing there with a plastic bag. Messi smiled warmly and said, "Look, these are the shirts I was able to collect for you," holding them out with a gesture full of kindness. The sight of the bag, filled with something so meaningful, instantly lifted Vargas's spirits, turning his disappointment into a moment of awe and gratitude. Vargas thanked him and hugged him, thinking it was only Messi's own jersey. But when he opened the bag, he was shocked to see not just one, but several jerseys, each signed and carefully packed. The unexpected generosity left him speechless, realizing that Messi had gone far beyond what he could have imagined. Inside were 6 Barcelona jerseys, not only Messi's, but also those of Xavi, Iniesta, Dani Alves, Gerard Piqué, and Carles Puyol, each one signed and ready to be used for the fundraising. Seeing the collection, Vargas felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude, realizing the extraordinary effort and thought that had gone into helping the victims back home. For Vargas, this was an unforgettable moment. He realized Messi had gone beyond the promise, not only offering his own jersey, but also inspiring his teammates to contribute, turning a simple act into a collective gesture of generosity that would make a real difference for those in need. Those jerseys were later auctioned, and the money went to help the flood victims in Colombia. Football became more than a game. It became a tool of solidarity and hope, showing how the sport could bring people together and create real, positive change in the lives of those who needed it most. Vargas later recalled, "I will never forget that gesture. Messi's attitude is something I will always admire." And he prayed for Messi to keep breaking records, not only for his football, but also for his heart, hoping that the world would continue to witness both his extraordinary talent and his remarkable kindness. This story reminds us that greatness is not just about goals or trophies. Sometimes it's about a simple act of kindness that can change lives, leaving a lasting impact far beyond the spotlight. True greatness often shines in the small gestures, the moments of empathy and generosity that inspire others and create a ripple effect of hope and compassion in the world.